What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Sammy V Sessions, episode 3. First thing we're going to get into, Spotify Wrapped. That was released this week, along with, I don't know what Apple Music calls theirs, but theirs came out too. Let's talk about Spotify Wrapped. I love Spotify Wrapped. I love seeing how many genres I listen to, what my top song was. This year, a lot of us already knew who our top artist was or what our top song was, but I listened to 289 genres this year. I feel that my Spotify Wrapped is a little skewed because being a fitness instructor, I love introducing new genres during classes. I listen to some other instructors give or put new genres on their playlists, and then I go home, I save it, I listen to it 100 times. So being a fitness instructor and using my Spotify for that is skewed only genre-wise. Like my top songs that we'll get into, they're no-brainers. My top 5 genres this year, which I do play in class often and I listen to on my own, was Urbano Latino, Pop Rap, Electro House, R&B, and Rap. Those are my top 5. And rap, it's probably like early 2000s rap. I'm really not into rap of these times, except if it's Kendrick Lamar. I can get down with Kendrick Lamar. But maybe Cardi B too, because she ended up in my top 5 albums. Spotify introduced this new listening age thing this year. Mine was 40 because I listened to music from the early 2000s. And I thought to myself, does that consider me 40? Being that I'm 30, it panned out. I should be 40 in my listening age. Out of 2,190 songs that I listened to last year, they gave me a list of songs. All of the songs that they gave me a list of to try to guess which one was my number one was from Debí Tirar Más Fotos. No brainer. But I thought it was Verdad because I did listen to that a million times, but it was actually EO. So, which I understand because I played that many times in class. But Verdad and EO was definitely my top 2 of this year. They said I played it 196 times. I believe that's way too low of a number. I believe I listened to it a lot more than 196 times. My top 5 albums this year were, let's go to that picture. Debí Tirar Más Fotos. Is Water Wet? Cosa Nuestra, Trópico Queta, Un Verano Sin Ti, Am I the Drama? I was really surprised with Am I the Drama because it just came out in September and like that's how many times I listened to it already. That it made my top 5. Great album. Worth the wait in my opinion, Cardi. But what I want to say about this list, Trópico Queta, in my opinion, did not get the love that it deserved this year. I don't know if it would have gotten more love if it came out during a different time, but this year it was kind of shadowed by other artists, especially Bad Bunny. Like he was just doing his thing this year, and I feel if Trópico Queta maybe came out next year or maybe end of December, it would have done a lot better. But I love that album. I will still keep it in my rotations. My most streamed artist this year was Bad Bunny. Again, is Water Wet? That comes as a surprise to nobody. Bad Bunny being the most streamed artist in the world on Spotify, at least. I'm sure, I don't know who it was on Apple Music, but on Spotify at least, for 4 years in a row. But people have the nerve to ask why he's doing the Super Bowl. I feel the people that are complaining about him doing the Super Bowl think that the world is yay big. And they're very self-centered people. Well, I don't listen to him. Well, there's how many people? 6 billion people on this planet? You are only one of them. And the world does not revolve around you. So he has every right to the Super Bowl. I can't wait for the Super Bowl episode. Being that I drop my podcast on Mondays and a Super Bowl's on a Sunday, we might be a little late that week. Because I'm not going to wait a whole week to talk about the Benito Bowl. Okay? I'm not going to wait a whole week to drop that episode. It might be a day later too. But we will figure it out. Back to the people that think that Bad Bunny shouldn't do the Super Bowl. Now, I said this before. I'm not a Swiftie. But I'm not ignorant to the fact that she can absolutely do the Super Bowl. I know she's got many fans. But again, I know the world does not revolve around me and my music taste. So people should start thinking the same thing about Bad Bunny, because that Benito Bowl is going to be fire. With Bad Bunny being the most streamed artist in the world, we need to recognize that it's not only Bad Bunny, but he has to have an amazing team behind him. Because I want to know who sat there and said, we need to release Debí Tirar Más Fotos in January. That was the smartest idea ever made in music history. We had the entire year to stream that. I want to know who's his scheduling person. Who says this is when this drops, this is when this drops, this is when this drops. Because without that person, I don't feel like he'd have this. He would have success. But whoever his schedulers, that scheduling manager, keep them around for as long as you're doing music, sir. Included in Spotify Rap were podcasts. So my number one podcast was Dumb Blonde with Bunny XO. And I did not think that was going to be my top podcast. Dumb Blonde, I love listening to. If you've never listened to it before, give it a listen. I love how they banter back and forth between Bunny, Mimi, Haley, and even Jaime. Their Ask, Tell, Confess episodes are my absolute favorite. I love how she interviews people, but Ask, Tell, Confess is always my favorite episodes. My second top podcast was The Comment Section with Drew Afualo. That is my girl down, okay? If there's anybody on the internet that is a friend in my head, it is Drew. And when I say friend in my head, I don't mean it in a creepy way. I mean it as, well, here we go. Like I said in my first episode, I reference Wendy Williams a lot. Wendy used to sit in her chair in Hot Topics and used to be like a friend in my head. All that means is that if we ever got to meet in person, if we ever got to hang out, that we'd hit it off really great. Obviously, she's not my friend in real life, or maybe not obviously, maybe not yet. But now that I have my own podcast and now that I'm building my own brand, The Comment Section is a podcast that I would love to be a guest on. I would freak out. And she'd probably laugh at me for being so excited. But here's my manifestation. Drew, we could be friends. We could hang out. And I'd love to be a guest on your podcast eventually. Maybe I'm not big enough yet. But I will be one day. And I hope that I can take a seat in one of your chairs and kiki and haha with you. So number one was Dumb Blonde with Bunny XO. Number two was Comment Section with Drew. Number three was Tactful Pettiness with Cody Rigsby. And I can't remember the co-host's name. I'm so sorry. But I listened to that, I like their nostalgia episodes. I don't really have a lot to say about that. I listen to them when I just want to keep things on in the background. Last podcast I want to mention is Hasta Abajo. I love listening to Melissa Ortiz and Camila Ramon. Melissa does the sports section of it. I love when she reports on sports because I am not one to sit down and watch sports. I like hearing about sports. I like discussing sports, but watching sports is definitely not my jam. I can't wait until the World Cup. I'm sure she's going to have so much to report on, so much to say. She's probably going to be at some of the games, giving us all the deeds behind the scenes. Her co-host, Camila Ramon, she is on there reporting about music. Me and her have similar music tastes. Also, friend in my head. Love her. She's great. She's also an upcoming artist. She started releasing music, so make sure you go check her out on Spotify. I think she's on Apple Music as well. Camila Ramon. She also has music videos out. I want to say they're on YouTube. I'm not sure where she has those, but make sure you go check her out and support her music because her music's great as well. Let's get into what's going on in music this week, starting with young Miko this weekend in Puerto Rico. So today is Saturday. She had a show last night. She has a show coming up tonight. I don't know who she's bringing tonight, and obviously this will be posted once I find out. But I want to talk about the guests she had on Friday night. Before I talk about the guests, I want y'all to know that I am so jealous that I was not able to take off of work and get tickets to this show because I would have been there front row losing my mind. One of the guests she brought out was Villano Antillano. So if you don't know her, she's a Puerto Rican rapper. Amazing. Her song with Bizarrap is really good too. They performed Madre together. When I saw that video come up across my TikTok, I melted inside. I was like, why couldn't I be there? That is a performance that I would love to see one day. I hope that that's not the last time that they perform together or perform that song together. I hope in the future they have new songs together. I'm very jealous for all of you that saw that. Another thing that I'm very jealous of all of you that saw was she also brought out Tokisha and Bad Gal to perform Chulo. Maybe that song came out in 24. I was going to say, why wasn't that in my top songs? But probably came out last year. But seeing these three beautiful human beings perform that song together, I wish I could rewind back time and then figure out my jobs and figure out getting off of work and figure out how to get my butt there to El Choli to see this show, because I know I missed a good one. But we must be adults and be financially responsible. There will be more time to see young Miko. Next thing that I want to talk about in music is Fred Again. Fred Again is dropping an album on the 12th. Fred Again is an artist that I was put onto very late. I love Fred Again. Fred Again was introduced to me by my current cycling boss where I work at my gym now. And once she introduced me to him, I was like, nope, there's no going back. This is one of my faves. He is releasing an album on the 12th, and I looked through the track list, and it seems like he released all of the songs except for 2 more. I don't know if that's a thing that he always does, like slowly releases it and then it says, oh yeah, by the way, this is the whole album, and you've already got all of the songs. Maybe he's waiting to drop the last 2 songs when the album drops. So last week we talked about discovering new artists with Xavi Leon. This week I want to talk about how joyful it is to discover an artist that's already established that you've never been put onto before, and then you can sit there and just take in all of their discography, and you could go back to the beginning and you can like discover their whole timeline. And I do this with a lot of artists. Another one that I did this with was Raul Alejandro. I'm very late to the game. Cosa Nuestra was the first time that I listened to an entire album of his from like beginning to end, no skips. I fell in love with it. And then I was like, I should go back. My sister had tried to put me on, and I knew a few of his songs, but I wasn't like a fan, like a big fan. I was more of like, oh, okay, like, yeah, I know who you're talking about, but I didn't like take a deep dive into him. When I heard Cosa Nuestra, I was like, you know what? I should go back and I should start listening to his albums. So listen to I'm going to mess up this word. Saturno and Playa Saturno. And I fell in love with them. And I was like, damn, like, I wish I was a fan when this came out so that I could have gone to the concert, because I'm sure that concert was fire. I know he did sing some of his songs at his Cosa Nuestra tour, which I did go to. I really also like that he releases an album and then like a follow-up album. He did it with Cosa Nuestra 2, and there's another album that came out. I can't think of the name right now. But that album is really good too. I listened to that front to back. I'm surprised that's not on my top album this year. I like to joke around on TikTok videos. Like lip syncing on TikTok is kind of what got me my current following. I like to joke around on there like, oh, like if you didn't know this song, I don't want to see you buying tickets for them and blah, 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 blah. I'm just kidding. Like, I feel it's so important to discover artists whenever you discover artists, even if they're really big. I hate when people be like, oh, you're late or you're jumping on the bandwagon. So what? Like, let people live. It's fine. Shamefully, and my best friend will tell you this, I also did this with Bad Bunny. I know. It hurts my heart when she reminds me of what I said. And you know what? Celeste will be on this podcast eventually, and we'll get into that story. But for right now, I'll leave you with that. I also discovered Bad Bunny late in the game. Not too late, but late enough. I should have been put on a long time ago. Now, everybody's favorite part of the episode, Song of the Week. We're taking it back to Fred again with Icy. He released 2 tracks this week. He released Icy and Feisty. Both of them are with Bia. Both of them are absolutely fire, but I want to talk about Icy. Fred again, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart and all of the instructors around the world for finally putting out a great song that is not 2 minutes long or 1 minute and 45 seconds. This song is a full 3 minutes and 52 seconds. Bring back longer songs. Bring back bridges. Bring back choruses. Bring it back. I want an intro. I want an outro. All of these songs that are 1 minute and 45 seconds long, and they're fire. We can enjoy them so much longer. I don't appreciate the 2 minutes. And when I say Thank you from the bottom of my heart, like not a 2-minute song. I'm not talking about just Fred again. I'm talking about like a lot of artists. Think about the songs that you're listening to. Next time you're listening to music, you should check how long the track is. Because if you go back to like the early 2000s, these songs are longer. Obviously, artists now need to cater to TikTok and like the short clips. I disagree. TikTok will clip it anyway. Do a longer song, please. We need longer songs. I'm going to fight for longer songs till the day I die. But that's all I have for you this week. I hope you take all of the suggestions for music and podcasts that I gave you on this episode. Give them a listen. Maybe you'll find your new favorite podcast, but that's all. Love you all.